Okay, I want to talk about family and integrating your family on the spiritual path, on this path of raising your consciousness, raising your awareness. Family is going to be a big component, especially if you live with your family or you live close to your family. It's going to be a big component for integration and just understanding yourself. There's going to be a lot of alienation, probably, a lot of isolation, because as you develop your consciousness, you're going to change. Your values are going to change. Your sensitivity is going to change. Your perspective on the world is going to change, and it's going to start to differ from the people around you. If you're serious about this work and the people around you don't really understand it, you're going to face an element of social isolation just naturally. You're going to be surrounded with people who look at the world in a very different way in which you look at the world. And so naturally, this leads to a lot of friction and confusion and feelings of loneliness. And this is, I think this is something everyone goes through. I know I've gone through it a lot. And I just wanted to make this video to shed some insights into what I learned about integrating your family, and more generally, just the people around you that don't share this spiritual, insight. They don't really know what meditation is. They don't really know what consciousness is. They're not really too sure, or they're living in somewhat unconscious ways. And that's not to say that is bad. These are all just things we have to be mindful of and integrate on the path. So in my experience, I've pretty much been the only one in my family that has shown an interest into meditation or even personal development for that matter. There's a lot of my family members and just people that I know around me were just pretty much comfortable with the status quo of, oh, this is the way the world works, and not questioning it beyond that. It's like, that's it. Like this is life, and we just carry on working. Like the way I think about it, and this is basically the distinguishing factor, I think, between anyone who's gained some sort of consciousness and not, is realizing that your worldview is a worldview, and it's not actually an absolute fact of reality. That's like the pivotal insight that I think differentiates someone who is kind of more conscious versus less conscious, is realizing, to the degree to which you realize that the way you look at the world is something that's completely moldable and something that's usually quite unconscious, becoming conscious of that unconscious mechanism, basically. And so if you're watching this video, I assume that your family or the people around you don't really understand. And you have to essentially come to terms with that in a way. And as I've progressed, I've realized more and more that I can't change anyone. You can't change anyone, and you can't actually help anyone. You can only live from your truth, and you may or may not inspire those around you to act in a way that's more in line with, consciousness, conscious values. So you can't grab someone, shake them and be like, yeah, this is the way the world works. And it's just very counterproductive and doesn't really make sense. It usually comes from a place of insecurity and loneliness on your part. And so the conclusion that I just keep coming to over and over again is the conclusion that I just have to, express my own truth, become the best version of myself, go down the spiritual path, if that's the path that calls to me. And if I do inspire someone along the way, if it's a family member, if they have that seed of wanting to know more, of wanting to pursue truth more, then we can have a conversation about it. But if not, that's okay too. And realizing that they're also just reflections of you. This is something that I've just been I keep coming back to this over and over again. My interpretation of the people around me is a direct reflection of me, and any resistance that I might have is very much a part of me, a part of the world that I'm somehow failing to love, or that I'm ignorant of or not accepting of. And so your family is going to probably be the biggest source of acceptance or resistance that you're going to have to overcome into acceptance, because there's always so many emotions and complications associated with family usually. I mean, I'm not too sure. Potentially you might have the perfect family lifestyle, but in my case, there's a lot of dysfunction. There's a lot of anger. There's lots of shame. There's lots of fear, lots of addiction. People just running away from their emotions. They're quite unprocessed. And I've been integrating that more and more, to the point where now I don't feel angry or indifferent, or this sense of wanting to change them or push my worldview onto them. I realize that it's a dead end. There's no point going down that path. And now I have this acceptance of their individuality and the path that they want to take. And there is a sense of acceptance as well within me, realizing that it's all the same anyways. It's all just part of this one consciousness. And whether they go on the spiritual path, whether they don't, doesn't really matter at the end of the day. And my role as an individual, is to just love and to accept and to see how I can expand my own consciousness, my own truth, and live from that more and more. But this is pretty much what I wanted to share in this video. Hopefully these insights and my meandering helped to some extent. And hopefully you enjoyed, and take care.